There is nothing I love more in this life than volunteering and serving alongside others with the people I love the most in this world. This past week, I went on a mission trip to Fort Worth, Texas, to learn and serve refugees and their families. I heard firsthand accounts of the realities and the hardships of being a refugee, played games with refugee children, and learned how to advocate for increased rights and freedoms of refugees by contacting my senators and representatives. My favorite part of the trip was learning how I could continue to make an impact back home in Colorado, because now I am able to take my passion from this trip and bring it into the future. Refugees deserve so much more in terms of rights and opportunities than they are currently receiving in this political climate. And now I know how I can help. Not only did I get to learn and serve refugees, but I got to grow closer to the amazing people who I love so much, who I call church. I truly am so thankful for the laughs and smiles and drivings and games we experienced this week. God is love. That was the Instagram post from one of our Connect Fort Worth participants, one of our GYC members, Ella, who came with her church, Heart of the Rockies, last week and came and participated in Connect Fort Worth. What we do at Connect Fort Worth is we want to empower you and empower groups to put their faith into action through service and justice in ways that are relational, sustainable, and dignity-giving. Groups can come on a trip. We have groups of all ages. We have youth groups. We have weekend groups with kindergartners and first graders and their parents. We have intergenerational groups where we have kids as young as 4 and kids as young as 85. We have college groups that come. This past summer, we had our first ever all-adult group, 7 participants from Monte Vista Christian Church in New Mexico. So groups come and stay at our church in Fort Worth, and our goal is we want to provide them a service and justice trip opportunity that will be a launching pad, that will not be your typical short-term mission where you come and you do something for a minute and then it's gone. We want to provide you a launching pad. We want to give you as much information as we possibly can to learn how to make a difference in your community and put your faith into action there. So that's our goal. When you come, you can pick from a variety of different themes. Our themes for this year are racism, refugees and immigrants, hunger and homelessness, the impacts of poverty on children in urban areas. So you pick a theme, and we partner you with the people that we partner with year-round. So you're not coming in as a one-time thing. You are a part of a bigger picture. We partner you with the people we partner with year-round, the nonprofits and the faith leaders and the professors and the teachers and the students and the people impacted by these crises, so we can all learn together how to make a difference. Then while you're there, you'll serve in the morning or in the afternoon. You'll get to do justice. You'll get to write letters and make phone calls and learn what service and justice mean. Then each evening, you'll get to reflect on what does it mean for us to do this back home? What's our passions? How can we put this into action? And the ways we do it are so powerful. Not what we do is powerful. What the kids do is so incredibly powerful. I got to watch this past spring break, Refugee Services of Texas, who is one of our partners. They called us when we had a college group coming in and said, we have a family from Congo who's arriving. They were supposed to be arriving in 2 months. They're arriving tomorrow. Do you all think you could help with that? And because we have these phenomenal churches coming, we get to say yes. That's something we can help with. So we took these 15 college students from Simpson College and we went shopping. We went to Walmart. We went shopping for all the things they need. We bought them a culturally appropriate meal so you could have a home-cooked meal in their house when they arrived. And I've always thought that if I became a refugee and if I ended up somewhere brand new, if there were chips and salsa in the pantry, I'd be like, I can do this. This is something I can do, and I want that same experience for our neighbors. So they cooked a home-cooked meal. We got to go to the airport and welcome this family off the plane. We got to welcome them, be the first American faces they saw. As you all know, as we talked about in our resolution this morning, not all of us are being incredibly welcoming to refugees these days, and our refugee neighbors know this, and they're terrified. So to be able to get off the plane and see a whole group of people with signs in their language saying welcome, with snacks and hugs and food, the breath they could take, you could sense. Then we got to drive them to their first apartment. We got to help them get set up. We got to watch these kids. It was a family of 8 in a 3-bedroom apartment, and I thought, this seems impossible. But when they got there from a refugee camp, the oldest son, who was the only one who spoke fluent English, looked at me and said, I never imagined I would live anywhere this big. The little ones jumped on the beds and laughed. They ate the food. That's what we get to do when we partner all together, when we connect all together with nonprofits, with youth groups, with college groups, intergenerational groups, with faith communities. When we get to all partner together, that's the difference we get to make. So we work with refugees and immigrants. We also work with hunger and homelessness. We have at our church, we partner with the Tarrant Area Food Bank, which is the food bank in our county. We partner with them, and we have their learning garden at our church. So each month, we grow 200 to 300 pounds of foods for our neighbors in need. And we get to help partner that with West Aid, which is our pantry with a purpose, the food pantry down the street that we partner with, so that everyone can have access to healthy food. So our groups and our hunger trips get to go and help grow that food and harvest that food. Then they get to go to West Aid and they get to stock the shelves and put the food out, and then they get to go shopping with our neighbors. We were there once, last summer we were there, and this teenage boy came in. He was not part of one of our groups, but he came in and he started to just look real awkward and weird, and we thought, what's happening? He called the next day and he said, I'm really sorry, I was really weird. I was bringing food by, and I know that was strange, but I realized this was the grocery store I shopped at when I grew up. It is so dignity-giving that the children who go there have no idea it's a pantry. They just think it's the grocery store in their neighborhood, and that they are incredible and special enough that their family gets personal shoppers. It is absolutely phenomenal. And so then I watched this youth group, this Connect Fort Worth group who was here with us, share that night about the difference they wanted to make. They wanted to create this kind of place in their community when they went back. And that's our biggest goal. We want to empower folks to learn that the best kind of service and justice happens when it's relational, when it's sustainable, and when it's dignity-giving. Too often when we serve, all of us, when we try to serve, it becomes too much about us, right? How great we are and how fabulous we are, and we have all these wonderful things, and if we could just share it with our neighbors, how amazing it would go. But I want these students to learn, and these adults to learn, to learn, is that our neighbors have even more to share with us. And if we can take a breath and listen and learn from our neighbors, then we can partner together as whole communities, connected communities, to help our communities look a little bit more like the kingdom of God. That is our goal. That's our dream. This has been my mission, my dream, since I was a teenager, and I've gotten to grow it and watch it and see, and to get to see, many of you all have been on trips, to get to see you all come and serve and care for and love the people I love. And then to get to hear you call me a month and 2 months and 3 months later and say what you're doing in your community. I cry almost every day out of gratitude to watch what Connected Community can do. We have some of our participants from a former Connect Fort Worth trip I wanted to come invite to share a little about what your experience and your trip was like. Some of our local Iowans.
So yes, last summer was the first time I had ever been on a mission trip, and we were blessed to be able to go to Connect Fort Worth, and what we saw and what we did, just to see my kids. This is my oldest, he's 15, I've got a 13-year-old and 11-year-old, and we were there with other youth from our youth group, and just to see them see what's going on and want to participate and want to help, and then the discussions we had afterwards in the evenings when we'd come back, just the growth that we've seen in the last year. We're currently trying to get something going in our community also, to where we can do something locally here similar to what we learned while we were there. It was by far one of the most amazing things that I have ever experienced, and we can't wait to go back on more mission trips and learn from others in other areas. So that was my experience. Thank you.
So if you want to come on a trip, the best part about it, if you're a pastor, if I didn't tell you, is we plan everything for you. So you just have to get them there, and we do everything else. You can get them in a car there. Catherine's coming next week. You just have to get them there. If you can get them there, we do everything else. You get to stay at our church. We have mattresses for you. We have showers. We have laundry facilities. We have kitchens. We have food. We have all the things you need. So if you are interested in a trip, we would love to have you on this launching pad experience and come by, and we can tell you more how to do it, or you can check it out in the directory on our website. Thank you all. Also, Mission Fest, thank you for this opportunity to get to share the mission that we get to do, that we're passionate about, and to get to learn from so many of the rest of you who are doing phenomenal work. Thank you.